loudspeaker spoke up and said,
Wait, Jimmy.
the loudspeaker spoke up and said,
Wait, Jimmy.
the loudspeaker spoke up and said, give up, give up, give up, give up, give up.
Wait, Jimmy. Wait, Jimmy. Wait, Jimmy.
I'm Clyde Lewis, and this is Ground Zero. I'm hoping that many of us have been able to pull away from this humiliation ritual that happened tonight. The throwing under the bus of Joe Biden by his own party tonight. The timing of the Julian Assange plea deal, where he's now supposed to remove any and all information about Hillary Clinton's emails and, of course, the Afghanistan war and intelligence as well, pleads to one count of the Espionage Act. And that's what I'm talking about tonight, more or less, because this kind of leads into what's happening with the debate tonight. And I didn't know it was going to, but it just seems to me that the timing is everything. And tonight, as we're seeing the ripping apart of Joe Biden by his own party, there's an operation now to probably remove him from office, and to do so, that would mean to bring in someone who'd be as charismatic and, if not, more able to get the votes than Biden. And a lot of people have been speculating it's Hillary Clinton. And that would make a lot of sense, since now Julian Assange just said that he is going to, for the plea deal, remove this information about her emails. That was one of the reasons why she lost to Trump when she went against him before. You know, when are we going to learn that the empire gives and takes when it can, whenever they can profit from it? And when are we going to learn that the empire withdraws offers when it seems that it's necessary? FDR has said that if it happens in government, it's planned that way. And this is all well known to investigators and writers and people who are called conspiracy theorists, and those who are truth tellers, those that reveal the ugly truth. There are legal teams out there that have been known to defend whistleblowers and others who have made the deep state uncomfortable revealing the truth. The truth is ugly now in America. The truth doesn't set us free in America. Due process is something of the past, and those who open up a can of worms sometimes get them fed to them as well. Some of those journalists, some of those whistleblowers are heroes, because they come forward and they bring the truth forward at the expense of perhaps their lives, sometimes their families' lives, sometimes their friends and their associates, even their own money and their own expense. And true heroes sacrifice a lot to be in the positions they're in. Heroes are very loosely defined sometimes. Scoring a boatload of goals doesn't make you a hero. Neither does singing a song or playing a rock and roll guitar, or, that doesn't make you a hero. Getting all the wealth of the world and being wealthy like Bill Gates doesn't make you a hero. Some people say, yeah, it does, but no. He's just a mealy-mouthed twerp who just has a lot of money. Heroes are imbued with the highly developed sense of morality and transcend themselves by working for the greater good of humanity and the world. And sometimes it becomes too easy to demonize a hero. Sometimes it becomes all too easy to torture a hero. And to do this, even though there's a significant, although arguably not numerous enough, global movement to support the freeing of this hero, free from the torture. And this is how I feel about Julian Assange. This is how I feel about Ed Snowden. This is how I feel about, Alex Jones in a way. because they've said and they've done things that have been uncomfortable. They've started conversations that are uncomfortable, and what happens? They end up getting sued, harassed, arrested, tortured in Julian Assange's case. Julian Assange, of course, was set free a couple days ago. But there was a catch. There was a caveat, and that is that Assange had to make a plea deal to destroy the emails and the military intelligence that got him into trouble in the first place. One count of the Espionage Act, of course. People must keep in mind that there are other heroes out there as well that have brought corruption, war crimes, crimes against peace and humanity to the public consciousness. And as a consequence, they face persecution, imprisonment, assassination, whatever sordid punishments the machinery of the rogue deep state can cook up. People like Daniel Ellsberg, William Binney, Ray McGovern, Scott Ritter, Ed Snowden, Chelsea Manning, George Galloway, conscientious objectors, truth tellers, resistance fighters, among others that are out there who are persecuted for their belief systems, for their thought crimes. And we ask ourselves, what laws have they broken? We don't even push laws anymore. We just assume guilt. The targeted are assumed to be guilty, and we don't believe in due process. We just want to persecute, and we want to do away with people just for the mere accusation of wrongdoing. We do that with Donald Trump. We did that with Julian Assange. We did that with Ed Snowden. We do it with everyone who comes forward to try and reveal some truth, however, how ugly it might be. And whatever Assange decides to do in the future, his decision is earned. He's done a lot for the people. I mean, now that Wikileaks is kind of an afterthought, I remember how great it was to have that access to the cryptome where you could find information and try to do research with that information in hand. Because there are a lot of people out there, believe it or not, that want more transparency, who want their governments to be held accountable for the horrible things they do. And, of course, most of the detractors of Julian Assange are people in government. Mike Pence was one of them. Hillary Clinton was one of them. We all know who they work for. We all know who pays their ticket. We all know what they stand for. Not much. And yet they're there leading us and telling us that they're great leaders when in reality they don't even know what they're doing. And loyalties can turn on a dime. If you show that you're weak, you get kicked around and you get left for dead on the streets of Washington, D.C. 503-225-0860. That's 503-225-0860. I'm Clyde Lewis. You're listening to Ground Zero, and we'll be back.
Does runaway inflation and extreme volatility in financial markets have you worried about the security of your hard-earned retirement savings? If so, it's time to contact the precious metals experts at All American Assets. All American Assets offers a wide variety of physical gold and silver products that can be shipped to your home or your depository with free shipping and insurance. Whether you're looking to acquire gold and silver coins or bars, open a gold IRA, or just want to learn more about the advantages of owning precious metals, All American Assets will take the time to equip you with the knowledge you need to make an informed decision. Visit allamericanassets.com. Fill out the form on our website and we will send you a free, no-obligation investor's kit. Again, visit allamericanassets.com and fill out the contact form today. Now is the opportune time to preserve your wealth with physical gold and silver. Visit allamericanassets.com and learn how you can turn your savings into gold.
JP here, host of The Paradigm Shift. If you have not checked out our new site and updated Aftermath Media apps, I implore you to do so. Apple or Android, just download the app and you'll have access to live and archived shows of Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis, The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable, The Paradigm Shift with me, JP, and other fine podcasts. A video library with hundreds of videos, GCTV, live monthly Zoom meetings with Clyde, and so much more. Go to aftermath.media and get subscribed today.
It's all over the news. Food shortages and scarcity in the supply chain. And the reality is nobody truly knows what might happen in the near future. Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and I want to let you know that it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. They provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, their foods will be there when you need them most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of other survival products. If the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. After you order from My Patriot Supply, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep. Prepare today, because time is short. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com.
Did you know that our bodies are 75% water and H2O is the most important aspect of healing? Restructured water is the world's most eco-friendly alkaline water system as it eliminates bacteria, viruses, heavy metals, chlorine, fluoride, and other harmful chemicals while maintaining all the beneficial minerals and hydrogen that your body needs. For more information, go to onfurther.com or call 251-284-2737.
The Oregon Bigfoot Festival and Beyond stomps down at Oaks Amusement Park in Portland, Oregon on Saturday, June 29th from 12 to 6 p.m. Hey, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero, and I will be hosting this fun and exciting event. A general admission ticket includes the Monster Market Celebrity Meet and Greet and the Paranormal Caught on Stage presentation featuring world-renowned paranormal investigators. David Schrader of the Holzer Files, Ghosts of Devil's Perch, and host of the Paranormal 60 podcast. There's Ronnie LeBlanc of Expedition Bigfoot, Paranormal Caught on Camera, and Conjuring Kesha. And we're happy to have medium Sarah Lemos on of Ghost Town Terror, Portals to Hell, and the Osbournes Want to Believe. Authors Jeff Davis, as seen on multiple TV paranormal shows, and Dr. J. Robert Alley will also be available for photos and the meet and greet. There will be vendors and a variety of great food. For more information, go to OregonBigfootFest.com. That's OregonBigfootFest.com.
Songwriter, comedian, filmmaker, and all-around good guy, Vinny Eastwood. Vinny Eastwood is a New Zealander with more reach in the United States and global truth movement than any other. Hilarious, cynical, insightful, inspirational, terrifying, enlightening, and incredibly modest. Yes. From 2008 till today, he's created over 6,500 published videos and radio broadcasts consisting of 20,000 hours of long-form interviews with 2,000 plus of the world's leading thinkers, researchers, inventors, warriors, scientists, and professionals from hundreds of different disciplines, gaining what few come to possess, and that's some very, very interesting perspective. Vinny Eastwood, welcome to Ground Zero.
And welcome, ladies.
How are you doing? Good to hear from you.
I'd like to say welcome to the ladies, the gentlemen, and the hermaphrodites. I'm fresh off of the can, taking a Wikileak, and now it's going to be a good evening, because Clyde, I hope I don't sound like I'm buttering you up or anything, but you're a consummate professional talk radio show host, and it's a deep honor and a privilege to be on the network and on your show too.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, he is on the Ground Zero Radio Network, a fantastic show all the time with Vinny Eastwood. He's always a kick when we have some of the gatherings with the hosts with the people too, and so it's good to have you on. So there are a lot of things going on tonight, Vinny. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're watching the throwing under the bus of Joe Biden by the Democratic Party tonight after his horrible performance at the debate. It's really sad to see the Democrats just all of a sudden change their minds quickly as they seem to be doing. I'm sure they got somebody in the wings to be put in place there, whether it be Gavin Newsom or some people say Hillary Clinton. But I also find it interesting, as I was saying earlier, about Julian Assange and the timing of his plea bargain and the timing of him being released as a free man. His plea bargain was that he was going to destroy or not publish any more of Hillary Clinton's emails or any of the military secrets, I guess, that he had revealed. And that was his plea deal, that they had to be destroyed or taken away. And I'm thinking, if Hillary Clinton's planning on stepping in for Biden, this is some excellent timing.
Isn't it interesting how guilty narcissists are never really preoccupied with undoing the damage that they did, or apologizing, or taking responsibility? What they preoccupy themselves with is threatening those who possess the evidence that would turn people against them and reveal them for what they are. Is their only concern.
Well, and that's been the case with Hillary Clinton for a long time, and that's why I just find it interesting that, it just goes to show you who had the bones to pick with the journalist who was trying to reveal the truth. It was the military, yes, but Hillary Clinton was the one, I'm sure, that was throwing the most tantrums, and because she lost the election to Trump in the first place. Now we may see a rematch again of Hillary if they decide to truly throw Biden under the bus after this debate tonight and how badly he did. I'm shaking my head going, I don't know if people see these patterns. I don't know if they understand how government and how it operates. It's mostly a planned show.
Well, imagine for a moment that the general voting public is part of a cult. They got indoctrinated into it, they had a whole bunch of things repeated to them, and they did a whole bunch of meaningless tasks, and they had very poor food, and a lot of rules to follow, and a central authority figure. It's a cult, okay? And the cult is called government, coming from the Latin governe, which means to control, and mente, meaning the mind. So that means that they're literally in a mind control cult that wants to control the minds of all of the people. So when you look at the crazy, strange things that they do, does it explain it and make sense that these people are mind control cultists?
Of course it does. I would even say that more so than not, that we're looking at politics today that are becoming more of a cult, and people are so hard-pressed to say anything bad about what may be going on with their own party. It's very Orwellian and very troublesome as we see the doublethink happening a lot with people. Tonight, we see another pivot of language where we're saying that, the Democratic Party is saying we have a problem with Biden. Biden just doesn't look like he's going to be fit to be president. And it's just all of a sudden this huge turnaround against their candidate. And I fear for these mood changes and how people just don't want to hang on to their values or hang on to things. That's why they turn on people like Julian Assange. That's why they turn on people like Alex Jones. That's why they turn on people like even you and I, who may want to, talk about something, and we bring up an attitude or an opinion, and immediately we're being punished for our thought crimes. It's something that is very Orwellian and very terrifying.
Yeah, and it's reaching all the way around the world. I just got a text message 5 minutes before the show from a friend of mine, Nick Bush, who has these big trailers that he puts on the sides of the major highways here, advertising InfoWars, or a big banner that says carbon tax equals no food. And he just told me that one of them just got destroyed with spray paint. 2 sides, $350 a side. And this is the sort of resistance that you get if you are a peaceful person who wants to legitimately engage in the minds of the public, put your own stuff up. These people have no rules. These people have no scruples. And so with the voting demographic and the sort of thing, you need to be paying attention for between 10 and 15 years before you understand the United States voting cycle. Okay, it works like this. Some candidate comes in, he's hard right, and he promises to do all these hardcore things and make people take responsibility, but then they don't actually do that. And then they may have one term, or they might get re-elected, and by the time people get sick of this person who claims to be hard right but is actually hard left, they then vote for somebody who is hard left, who claims to be hard left. And then that person gets in. And it turns out that they're not as hard left as people who voted for them hoped. And then they may have one term, or they may have 2 terms, and then a hard right candidate comes in to save you from them. That's the cycle, okay? Pressure release valve. I'm going to come into you and lie to you, tell you everything you want to hear, and as soon as you start figuring out that I'm a liar, I'll get another liar to come in and tell you everything that you want to hear, and the cycle begins again, principally because people do not have the memory or the attention span. Recent studies have shown that the average human now has a lower attention span than that of a goldfish. You would have better odds teaching a goldfish to memorize something important than you would the average teenager these days.
That's incredible, and I don't doubt it, because one of the things that I was reading about earlier was the idea that the way to keep people constantly moving is to keep them on the verge of starvation and keeping them ignorant of history. And it seems like that's what they're proposing now. They're trying to starve people. And a lot of people don't understand history or civics. And so that's why when things happen like this, they don't understand how it's all going to turn out. They think that the show is going to be a big surprise, when those of us who have seen what has happened, like you say, the cycles or the patterns, you see the cycle and the patterns and you know exactly what's going to happen next. Sometimes they throw you a curveball, but most of the time it can easily be seen as a plan, a devised plan to either bring people to war or bring people at least towards a more divided and tribal situation.
A friend of mine, Russell Malcolm, he once exposed a local council and got every single councillor, including the mayor, fired for corruption. Right? And he told me that when you're looking for a leader, there is only one thing you need to look for: a track record of self-sacrifice for the good of others.
Well, that's hard to find for sure. And that's hard to find. Like I said, I was talking about heroes. They're hard to find too. Vinny Eastwood, one of my heroes tonight on Ground Zero. We're going to talk more about the Julian Assange situation. And if you want to talk about, how Joe Biden's been thrown under the bus tonight, we can entertain some calls that way too, because I'm sure a lot of people want some therapy on that. It was really a mess. 503-225-0860. That's 503-225-0860. We'll be back.
Where is my mind? Where is
my... Where is my mind, indeed? Way out in the waters we're swimming, ladies and gentlemen.
You feel petrified. You're struggling with your mortgage payments, not knowing what to do. You do nothing. But if you do something, you're far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making Home Affordable is a free government program. Call 888-995-HOPE to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about your options. Call 888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
My Patriot Supply is America's leading emergency preparedness company, and believe it's every person's patriotic duty to achieve true freedom from our world's increasingly unreliable and fragile systems. The best way to do this is to invest in your personal liberty, because you can't rely on governments or corporations for the basics of life. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of survival products. Despite these difficult times, My Patriot Supply has kept their commitment to you with well-stocked emergency supplies. They will deliver them quickly and discreetly with friendly 24/7 customer service. Stay alert and prepared, friends. Let everyone else take tomorrow for granted. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com.
This year, firefighters will battle thousands of wildfires around the country in hopes of containing them. But a single ember that escapes can travel more than 1 mile, where it can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Prepare, protect, prevail. Get fire adapted. Learn simple steps you could take now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
It's all over the news, food shortages and scarcity in the supply chain. And the reality is nobody truly knows what might happen in the near future. Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and I want to let you know that it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. They provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, their foods will be there when you need them most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of other survival products. If the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. After you order from My Patriot Supply, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep. Prepare today, because time is short. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com.
Hello, Mrs. Johnson. Let's see. Before we close on your mortgage loan, I want to make sure you remember Mike.
Hello.
And as you know, he's African-American like you, so you can trust him.
And that's important, because here's the low monthly payment and interest rate you were promised, and here's where it triples. Plus, we buried a balloon payment in there, so you'll need another loan just to pay that off.
Another loan?
But we'll keep giving you loans.
Until we eventually take all the equity you had in your house, leaving you with absolutely nothing.
What? But don't worry. We're going to sell you credit life insurance. You don't really need it, but we sell it at 5 times the cost.
Which puts a ton of cash in our pockets.
Wait, whoa. Don't get up. You look nervous.
Ooh, we better hurry up and get you to sign, or if you don't, I can pretend to ruin your credit with one phone call.
Predatory lenders are never this easy to spot. Call us at 866-222-FAIR and protect yourself with the facts. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Fair Housing Alliance and the Ad Council.
I'm glad I was caught. I was mentally deranged. Now I am cured. I ask only for you to accept my love of our leader. I ask only to be shot while my mind is still clean.
His arrest this morning in London, quickly followed by an announcement from the US. Assange had been charged with conspiracy. He is accused of working for former US Army intelligence and...
Our top story this hour, Julian Assange says he will fight extradition to the United States in British court. The WikiLeaks founder was arrested Thursday at the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he had been living since 2012.
They said that Assange had helped Chelsea Manning break and crack the password to enter into U.S. government computers.
Because Ecuador has stopped protecting Assange, he's facing unbecky levels of prison time. Although a lot of people are concerned that by arresting Assange, the government is creating a precedent to lock up journalists who expose government secrets in the future.
If there's someone who's potentially connected to our publications and that person is then murdered in suspicious circumstances, it doesn't necessarily mean that the two are connected. But it is a very serious matter of any... That type of allegation is very serious, and it's taken very seriously by us.
I'm trying to read you, Julianne, whether you... Yeah, I know you don't want to reveal your source, but it certainly sounds like you're suggesting a man who leaked information to WikiLeaks was then murdered.
Secret out there, somebody's got it, they give it to WikiLeaks, and WikiLeaks puts it out.
Julian Assange is perfectly okay.
Then, a few months ago, he outed the US DNC for how it treated Bernie Sanders.
Julian Assange is perfectly okay. Perfectly, yeah. All right, thank you very much. Whenever you see surveillance, what you're seeing is always
Vinny Eastwood with us tonight on Ground Zero. The numbers to call, 503-225-0860. That's 503-225-0860. Okay, so, Vinny, the whole idea of Julian Assange going free is a victory because we were all worried he'd be extradited to the United States and his health is bad. He's been tortured and all that. But a lot of people are also concerned, saying that the truth doesn't set you free anymore in America because he had to make a plea deal. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if you're in a society of lies, it might have been Copernicus or somebody who says that the more truth you tell, the more people will hate you for telling it because they're living a lie. And truth is offensive, right? It's the meaning of the word controversial is being confronted with a piece of information that's going to force you to make a choice. And a lot of people don't like getting forced into making choices. If you tell people what to do, they generally don't want to do it. And so when you're talking about freedom of the press, we need to basically stand up and say, no, you can't do that to this guy. And if you can't do that, then there is no freedom of the press, period. That age is over. Maybe it was never here in the first place. Goodness knows how many journalists have been whacked or bumped off over the years, over the past centuries even. Who knows how many people thousands of years ago had pieces of information that they were trying to get out to people and then got knocked off their horse by somebody with a spear. We don't know. Because often the only person who would report them being assassinated for reporting the truth would be themselves.
Yeah, especially when they say, hey, I'm not going to kill myself. It's like Danny Casolaro. Hey, I'm not going to kill myself. Or that whistleblower with Boeing. I'm not going to kill myself. And they end up dying. And they end up looking like they committed a suicide. These are things that have happened a lot of the time. I would say that, again, I guess it just depends on who feels threatened. And that those who are threatened are going to be committing these crimes against journalists. And it's going to go on forever. Would you say, though, that I guess freedom of speech and freedom of the press is dead in America?
I might say it's dead worldwide, theoretically. I mean, I've been arrested for protesting lockdown, spent 28 months in court, was banned from accessing the internet for 42 days in a row. Just a lot of persecution and things. You know, had all my channels terminated. I had 65,000 subscribers.
But let me ask you a question, Vinny, and I did this in the beginning of the show. What laws did you break?
I stood within 2 meters of another person.
That's a law that you broke?
Yeah.
And that's a real law?
Yeah.
Or was it just some mandate they gave? And it's like I was saying earlier, here in the United States, it wasn't a law that you couldn't stand within 2 meters of a person. They just suggested to stand 2 meters.
Well,
or 6
you guys have a different parliamentary system, right? You have allegedly checks and balances. Doesn't tend to help a whole lot, but sometimes it does. But in New Zealand, we have what you could term a parliamentary sovereign dictatorship, which means if a politician gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning and they've got the numbers to pass any kind of legislation they want, they can pass it at 4 o'clock in the morning without opposition, without anybody present, and it just gets rubber stamped and it starts getting implemented immediately. All right, that's how fast New Zealand can pass laws and make them laws.
So mask wearing was a law in New Zealand?
There were mandates and all of these kind of things, and people were being chucked out, they were being assaulted, they were being insulted, demonized in the media, and so on and so forth. So even when something is not actually a law, it's like Jordan Peterson says, there's a degree of social enforcement. He's in favor of social enforcement, right?
Well, that's exactly what was in 1984, the idea that Oceania didn't have any laws. They just had suggestions, and the people were eager enough to please the party to be basically policing the people.
Mm-hmm. Because they've been brought up in a cult system where their cult, the government, is ostensibly God, much like money, one eye, one God. And because your God is a cult called government that wants to mind control you, because your God is money, which they make up out of thin air, it doesn't strike me that person who really believes in those particular institutions and doesn't actually really know anything about it is going to make a really good choice when it comes to following the suggestions that they may or may not give out.
Well, people, if they're targeted, they're guilty in this country now. It's not about due process. It's not about a fair analysis in the court of public opinion. It's a hack job. It's like tonight, as they're throwing Joe Biden under the bus for a bad performance at the debate. It's like immediately about face on Biden. I'm just shocked at how quickly they can eat their own if they don't do as they hope them to do.
This is the subject of a film analysis that I saw done on Star Wars, where it talked about why this tyranny couldn't work. because Darth Vader is so threatening, and if anybody messes up one little thing, he frickin' chokes them to death, right? Imagine that's your employer. You got to go to work every day, you got to get up, you got to have your coffee, and then you got to go to work all day for somebody who could just kill you if you make one mistake. What does that do to a person? And we have a look at, say, Xi Jinping in China, the current premier. It was looking at the analysis of his career and looking at how many original ideas he came up with, how many original initiatives that he came up with, how many times he stuck his head up and said the thing that needed to be said. 0.
Right.
0 times. That's how you succeed in communism. Okay? Yeah. Keep your effing head down. Only once you have the power to force at gunpoint everybody to do what you want them to do, then you can come up with your own original ideas, then you can be creative, then you can dream up some initiatives, but not before then. If you do that, other people in the party will see you as a threat, and they won't support you, and they'll backstab you, and they'll say mean things about you, and they'll destroy your reputation, and you ain't ever getting in power then.
Man, Vinny, thank you. It's such a refreshing thing to hear this, especially from someone who's had this experience himself, talking about how easily they turn on you, how easily they turn on Julian Assange, Alex Jones, you name it. There are a lot of people out there trying to get the truth out there that have been stepped on, have been kicked around, and we need to start protecting people who try to get the truth out there. Vote with your dollar. Vote with your support. Give everyone that you believed is giving you the truth the support they need now. Otherwise, they'll be under the jackboot, being stomped on forever, like Orwell had said. Vinny Eastwood with us tonight on Ground Zero. Your calls coming up. Don't go away.
My Patriot Supply is America's leading emergency preparedness company and believe it's every person's patriotic duty to achieve true freedom from our world's increasingly unreliable and fragile systems. The best way to do this is to invest in your personal liberty, because you can't rely on governments or corporations for the basics of life. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of survival products. Despite these difficult times, My Patriot Supply has kept their commitment to you with well-stocked emergency supplies. They will deliver them quickly and discreetly with friendly 24/7 customer service. Stay alert and prepared, friends. Let everyone else take tomorrow for granted. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com.
Attention all truth seekers and cosmic enthusiasts. Prepare for an extraordinary journey at the UFO Festival in Roswell, New Mexico from July 5th through the 7th. Hey, it's Clyde Lewis, host of Ground Zero, and I, along with other experts in the field, will be there. Experience the thrill of encountering the unknown as we gather to explore the mysteries of the universe. Immerse yourself in the extraterrestrial extravaganza filled with out-of-this-world events, including the renowned Roswell Galacticon, family fun at the Alien Fest, the gripping Roswell incident, the captivating Roswell Film Festival, and enlightening experiences at the International UFO Museum and Research Center with lead investigator and author Donald R. Schmidt. There will also be a wide variety of excellent restaurants for your dining pleasure. You don't want to miss out on this out-of-this-world adventure. Again, join us in Roswell and be part of the 2024 UFO Festival from July 5th through the 7th. For more information, go to ufofestival.com. That's ufofestival.com.
The MK-Zine podcast is an examination of coercive mind control, invasive human experimentation, and other related abuses. Produced by Ron Patton and Jason Stone, they feature survivors, counselors, and researchers who talk in depth about the various methodologies employed by the perpetrators, such as covert drugging, hypnosis, torture, stalking, and electronics. Listen on Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific Time on Ground Zero Radio.
We're here with Dr. Reg McDaniel, MD, who formulated New Eden, the aloe-based, all-natural micronutrient supplement. Doctor, how does New Eden improve your health?
New Eden provides the nutritional building blocks the human body requires for life to repair itself and achieve what we call homeostasis, which is where parts of the body, all organ cells, are in balance or harmony. This is possible because of what I call the divine design in our DNA that holds the molecular code of life for this inborn healing process.
Thank you, Dr. Reg. So New Eden supports your immune system, and your purchase supports Ground Zero. Get yours today at newedenhealth.com/Clyde. That's newedenhealth.com/Clyde.
For a limited time only, our premium yearly subscription will be available for just $79, 50% off the regular price. This offer includes access to all exclusive content, ad-free listening, as well as full access to all our premium features, including videos, documents, and webinars. You need to take advantage of this fantastic opportunity if you've never been a member and experience everything that Aftermath has to offer at an unbeatable price. Sign up now at aftermath.media.
Vinny Eastwood with us tonight on Ground Zero. Got to go to some calls. A lot of people wanting to get in tonight before the show ends. We're going to go to Carlos in California. Hey, Carlos, you're on with Vinny Eastwood. Go ahead.
Good evening. Well, listen, how free is Snowden? I mean, Assange really going to be? He's going to Australia, which made great strides towards advancing the New World Order. Remember their stringent COVID-19 lockdowns, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, I think he's a good man. He meant well. But I'm not really convinced by Snowden. I think he's an agent provocateur, a government asset. They made a movie about him, glamorizing him, and since when does the deep state glamorize their enemies? That just doesn't happen.
Well, it depends on who produced the movie, There are a lot of operations that can be tied to the deep state.
The government's not going to allow any producer to produce a movie that's contrary to their agenda.
Sure they will. They just won't promote it, or they'll just badmouth it.
Yeah, that's what happened to the Snowden movie. It didn't perform very well at the box office at all. In fact, what was it? One more point on this. The movie They Live was the #1 movie in America when it was released for 2 weeks running. The reason why it's now a cult classic and nobody's really heard about it is because every single theater in America pulled it off their screens after that 2 weeks. So yes, you can make movies, but yes, they won't allow you to have them be successful because it'll encourage you to do it again.
Yeah, Carlos, I mean, take it from a guy who's made a movie. You have to pay money. You realize you have to pay money for the government to see your movie to give it a rating in order for it to be sold. You know that, right?
Okay. Well,
and if they don't give it a rating, you have a hard time selling it because they won't put it on any shelves and they won't sell it in stores. You have to get a special request to sell things like that because movies you have to run them by the government before they even end up in the mainstream. So if you can make an unrated movie and it can be ignored and it can be downplayed and it can even have bad critics. You look at what the critics do to it on Rotten Tomatoes and you see the other people that just say, well, this is a great movie. I mean, Kevin Costner's got a new movie coming out called Horizon, and the critics are killing it. But it's everything that everybody's requested to have in a movie, and it's because the government, the powers that be, and the critics don't want that movie to come out.
Yeah, exactly. It's important to not get carte blanche when it comes to these things. But when it comes to, say, Assange or Snowden, yes, they've received a lot of publicity. Publicity because they've been demonized and destroyed and attacked and had to live in exile and so on and so forth as a warning. It's a chilling effect. That's precisely what they did to me and my friend Billy TK when they arrested us during the lockdown protest. A chilling effect. This is why these people are highly publicized, not so that you'll think of them as heroes and stuff like that, but to show all the other journalists what will happen if you try doing this?
Yeah. That's what the
I got another question real quick. Will this lead to harsh anti-whistleblower laws, this crisis that's been created?
What do you think, Vinny?
I probably. All right, if anything comes into the public consciousness and the end result is a journalist has been exiled for what was it, like 20 years now or something like that, something ridiculous. Like, I remember first hearing about WikiLeaks back in the day when somebody's like, hey, Vinny, this is when it was real underground. There's a civilian intelligence agency, Vinny, it's called WikiLeaks. And I was like, oh my goodness. And that's why I don't go to the bathroom anymore. I take a WikiLeak.
Thank you, Ben. Let's see. Let's go to Rick in Ottawa. Rick on Ground Zero. Go ahead.
Oh, hi, Clyde, and hi, Mr. Eastman. Congratulations, by the way, on surviving the reign of the Wicked Witch of the Southern Hemisphere there, the lovely Jacinda.
Thank you.
Relatively sane, it seems. I'll start with a quote. It relates to Mr. Assange, and I'll tell you why. The quote is, something fundamental is going wrong in all regions of the world. The authorities are apparently increasingly viewing their own people as an enemy. The fellow who made that quote was a special reporter on torture, Nils Melzer, for the United Nations. Even a broken clock can be right. In June of 2021, in response to the German anti-lockdown protests when grandmothers and children were being beaten by the Robocops, and he was also commenting on, of course, similar things were going on in France and Australia, probably New Zealand at that time, and later on, Trudeau cracked down in Canada. And Mr. Melzer was also somebody who was aware of Julian Assange, very aware, so much so that in February of 22, he wrote a book, The Trial of Julian Assange, A Story of Persecution. Julian Assange's lawyers had approached him. He was reluctant at first because he said, look, I deal with heavy-duty torture cases. Mr. Assange is whatever. And the more he looked into it, he found out that Julian Assange was a serious case of persecution by what we now call the deep state or the globalists. Right. Even things like the Ecuadorian embassy 3 months before Julian Assange was to be released to the British authorities and then went to the Belmarsh prison, they refused to let him have his shaving kit, so he would come out looking disheveled and like they had this thing going at he didn't look after his personal hygiene and he was like a creep. That was calculated, according to Mr. Melzer, found that out in the course of his investigation, little details like that. And of course, Mr. Melzer did uncover more serious things, torture, and he found out Mr. Assange definitely was tortured. And another unlikely source, Jimmy Carter, when WikiLeaks first came out with their revelations regarding Iraq, Jimmy Carter, of all people, said, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the truth being aired. It's a good thing. So I thought I'd mention those two things in particular, especially Mr. Nils Melzer. He'd make an interesting guess.
Yeah, that's very good. I appreciate you giving that information because I don't think a lot of people know the extent of what was going on with Julian Assange. They just think it was just something they could put in the back of their minds, but he was tortured. He was treated the way he was. He was left to look without, no hygiene, no care, no nothing. I mean, this is pretty much what happens to journalists these days, especially, and he was not even an American citizen, but they wanted to get him on American treason and espionage. It's just weird the way things work out, eh, Vinny?
Yeah. And there's other things that he said and done that calls into question who he really is. He was a member of a cult, like some kind of like weird cult that his dad was running or something like that in Australia. He apparently has expressed the legitimacy of the official story of 9/11 and a number of things which have called people into question. I was watching Dan Dick's Press for Truth the other day, and he's like, absolutely 100% sure that Julian Assange is controlled opposition. Well, of course he's controlled. He can't even get a razor without them saying so.
Right, and it's funny what you say when you're under torture. It's funny what you say and what you retract, and some people will say, well, see, he retracted. It's got to be fake. No, not always. I mean, there are things that you have your limits to what you can take, and sometimes you crack, and that makes you a human being And that's something that is could be discussed at another time. But Vinny, so thank you for your input, your insight, and I really thank you for being on this program. What time do you appear on groundzero.radio?
3 p.m. on Sundays. That's Pacific Standard Time. And I just want to let everybody know, just think back about what you've been through to get where you are now. All the things that have been done to you and all the good things that you've done for other people. Just think about that for a moment. You should be very proud of yourself. Proud that you still have your intelligence, you still have your conscience, and you still have your soul, and you still have your sense of humor. You should all be very proud indeed.
Vinny, thank you so much for being on the program. Remember, keep your mind where they can't get at it. You keep it at ground zero. We'll see you tomorrow.